Let's record quick. All right. Sitting here thinking, right? And I was just pondering on the question of when I hear the question, they say, well, Kevin, how do you coexist with today's track and field? And I had to give it some thought, right? Because I always tried to figure out where is my placement in the sport? Have I missed anything? Did I miss anyone? And a lot of times it's across the road when I get to that question and you start discussing that with me. For the simple reason is that I know my accomplishment was huge, but I don't think I benefited from it the way I wanted to. So with that being said, it's cool. Or I have to simply understand that things change. But now, right, in this whole new age of marketing and the direction that's been taken by the individuals, and not just the individuals, but more likely now that the scary part has been taken over by technology, right? Um, even this whole influencer culture that we are up under, it's because of technology. It's the reach that these individuals have been able to have, connecting with other people through things in which they've done in their production of their life. And whatever that verb is, I don't know. However, very powerful verb, boy. But what's crazy in the verb itself is the fact that how it plays out to us and the marketplace in which you used to handle or evolve in that particular industry. Um, and it's a snake eating itself because the young man, first I'm thinking of the young Italian kid who did the little uh, silence thing, pointing out all the juxtapositions and stuff. So now he's on the runways of fashion houses and stuff. So I'm going, wow. The market is still the same, the branding is still the same. However, the face of the market's presentation has changed. And so that's how I actually look at track and field now. And that's changing. Or is it? So the question I always ask myself, do I see the change happening? Or am I a part of the change happening? I guess just those two questions because I can really getting in deeper into the questions themselves, how it relates to me. Uh, but just watching the marketplace of our sport and the what they call them shareholders and the shareholders within the sport, how those who have positioned themselves within these shareholders along the way over my uh, pre, during, and post career in the sport, and definitely after my retirement, me just kept watching this play out, not just in sport. And it's really interesting is we talk about gatekeepers and people putting the Heisman on your ass, keeping you out. But that's not the case anymore. Some of those powers still are there because basically relationships and networks that they have amongst a group. But there's so many outliers within this space, disruptors, if you may want to call them, that comfortably coexist or seeking a comfortable existence within it that is there. And I think that's where I feel like, not that I come in at that, I feel that's where I exist. And the crazy piece is many of us like that in our sport that no are retired from our sport, but we have a critical eye on the sport. Even not just the simple fact that how we just want to stay connected within the sport. Uh, I just would like to say thank you to those who've been on the forefront for the past 10, 15, 20 years. And they're finally getting the kind of awards that they may have deserved in that hollowed out space, because that's a very rare space to be involved in. You're talking about just say TV. You talk about international television. Not talking at home, your local, you know, anchor. You're talking international television, year in and year out, and is the face of that. So I totally respect that. Those individuals who we are, because it's a very tiny little space, and you got to get in where you fit in. So, but in that any case, um, I spent my past couple days in Austria at what they call it, the hyper meeting, which is the multi events meeting, I like to call it. They're having a 50th anniversary, so I was there fanning out as usual. Um, got an opportunity to see some old faces, like I have done over the past 3, 4 years. Has been 4 years, at least 3 years. I've been to the meeting, counting this year. So this year, last year, of course, and the year before. So at least 3 years. Went down again this weekend. Had a real good time. I've been stalking a couple of decathletes from around the world. As my interests have delved more deeper into in the sport, not interest, but in the sport. Saw some great faces that I hadn't seen in a long time that I like to discuss and talk about. But yeah, it was our sport is evolving. It's a little stagnant in places, but it has evolved. I think what is important for the sport, for the sport's future, is actually the historical aspect of the sport itself, good or bad, right? Just a discussion on that. But I just think we got to talk about it. Uh, we have to. It's imperative that we do. So I'm out. I'm gonna come back and show you what I got from the my trip.